Good afternoon from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you as usual. Hoping your day's going the best it possibly can so far. I was going to do this topic yesterday, but I'm really glad that I didn't. Because the topic of the nicest prisoner or prisoners that I met along that long journey of institutions that I went through. There's so many to choose from. So I'm going to start off with it being just the part one, because we could go on forever and ever and ever. But before I start, oh God, I'll get a right slap in the mouth if I would have forgotten that bit. Happy birthday, my darling Lisa. We know Lisa is, which is Tony's wife. In a blink of an eye, you'll see me. Glad your day's going as good as it can so far. Lisa, I'll be missing you a lot lately, my little darling. I'll be down there soon, all right? And give my regards and special love to my big brother, Tony, as well. And Mark and Claire across the road, of course. And I forgot the lady upstairs, Tone, I forgot her name now. Lovely little lady that she is, the one with the little dog, I think, or ginger cat or something like that, who kindly gave me a lift that day. So Lisa, yep, just do the best you can, darling. I'll be around soon, so you get prepared for that. Also, yeah, the topic of today, yeah, but I've changed the nicest prisoner to the nicest bad man that I ever met. Because rightly so, pointed out the other day that, yeah, Yammy's a nice man, really. He's all right. Yeah, he's stabbed a few people. He's got loads of victims underneath his belt. But he's a nice man, if you get what I mean. No, I can't call the nicest in that way as we know it. So I refer to this as the nicest bad men that I've ever met. And I'll give you the reasons why. So, we're going to put Tony Argent aside, John Gray aside, Ben Scott aside. We're going to put Stevie Gillen aside, because we already know that we don't want to sound favourite and biased in any shape or form whatsoever. So it's going to go something like this to start with, all right? And some people, interesting question Jason asked me as well about, Yammy, you always talk about how you made friends, but we never talk about why we get these instant connections with men that you meet along the way in that life, that makes the bonding really, really strong straight away. What is it that connects with that person now? Many men along the years have tried to talk to Tony, no one likes to be, well, speak on my behalf of myself, that we don't like to be told when we're wrong. But me, being the man that I am good at accepting, I believe, or understanding when I'm wrong. And these are one of the reasons why, even though I'm not going to mention him as my nicest bad man prisoner, Tony and John, exactly that. When you say, if there's not many men that can walk up to them and call them names, or in this instance that I'm going to talk about alone, where I said, I was angry with Tony and I said to him, listen, I'm telling you, you was wrong. Not many people say that and not get a clump, and I've had him raging, and John as well. And being me, being the cheeky little bot that I am or was, I say, go on in, swing. But no, they storm off and then come back and then admit that they were wrong. So it's not that, yes men things all the time, because there's a lot of men that are frightened to talk to people that they believe are seriously violent or can have a right row. That you're going to be that person's friend and not going to be able to tell them to shut their mouth, or go and get your head down in my pit and all that kind of stuff. You've got to be able to say, when you've got a friend, you've got to be able to say, listen, I think you're wrong. I don't care how it upsets you or what rage it causes you. Because then if you swing at me, that means that you're not my friend, innit? Because if you're saying it's only a matter of wrongs and rights, and as long as you're not being too, it's not justified to be walking up to you and calling you a mug or whatever, that kind of challenge. It's a different kind of thing. So yeah, but I'm going to leave them lot aside on this one today, all right? So, excuse me, before I start. I have met many bad, nicest men. Like I said already, we're calling it the baddest, nicest, the nicest, baddest man, part one. So I'm going to start with Billy Tobin. Right now, I spent a lot of time with Billy in the old days. I'm in touch with his nephew quite at the moment as well. Who goes to meetings. He's doing his own work on his addiction, and doing really well, working and everything like that. But I was going to do a particular piece on Billy. I'd done it on the other channel, but sadly I lost that video. But I say Billy because his mannerisms and his soul and his heart and, the politeness and not glorifying, glamorizing. And, you remember when the first things came out with the robberies, allegedly, the first robberies of its kind with the crane. Do you not remember that? With that thing, I'm led to believe, was one of the first of its kind, those kinds of robberies. But not having spent a lot of time with him in the 90s, more just after he got his first big sentence. He done a big one, and other things, he got another sentence. And he used to do his yoga on the yard, and I think he done a bit of Buddhism as well. He's very spiritual, Billy, and stuff. But to hear him that he would have got attacked. Oh, no, sorry, I was there on another wing where he got jumped by 3 or 4 men. Imagine Billy still being in his 60s or late 60s or whatever, and still got like that little boy's physique. What a physique for a man of that age as well. I mean, people say it to me for my thing, but I think Billy's 10, 15 years older than me. Really, really fit. A bit like Kenny Noy as well. That kind of age bracket, I think they are as well. But I say, what a lovely man. And even that day, you lot, as well, let's get this fact right as well. Like, all right, one of you allegedly shot a police officer during a crime, a botched robbery attempt, a lady police officer. And you get all the praise in the world for going to the Cat A's, and you're glorifying that, and you get 40 stretching and never coming out. But then you get found out that you get convicted of rape as well, whilst you're serving that life sentence. But you're going to run up on an older man who really just asks you politely to keep your music down, and you want to run past him and cut him in his face, and think. But let's think about 2, 3 of you, and you didn't really get the better of Billy. So there's like the respect of elders and all that. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, Billy, man, I put you up there as one of my nicest men. Connection wise, communication wise, politeness nice, humble nice, all the things you get with a normal human being. Apart from that, you as an ex-criminal like me, Billy. So I hope all's going well down there with you, young Connor, as well. Mention your uncle's name today. The other one that I was thinking about closely, Danny Dawson as well, from Manchester. Now, Danny I only met once, I think, or twice even, during different stages of that prison career. Another polite, humble man who allegedly was in for something really, really, really serious that you couldn't picture him kind of doing, if you get what I mean. It's not my business to go into the case or the details, and I've never really gone into it with him. But Danny, what a lovely man as well, but can turn nasty as well if you're going to be really rude. I've seen Danny let things go, like things that I think like I might get a little bit itchy fingered with, and he lets go. But on 2 particular times during my stay with him, I saw him switch before my very eyes and do a couple of people, if you like, Danny, if you don't mind me saying. But no, what a lovely fella Danny Dawson is, Dan, and sending loads of love to you today as well. And again, one of the nicest, baddest men that I ever met. He was from Nottingham, and they call him Danger, Ezra. Not only you're going to be innocent, you're going to be serving a life sentence unjustly and unjustified. How you ever get found guilty of that, big man, is beyond belief, really. But there's many like that. Like, we're going to talk about the miscarriages of justice very shortly on yammybtv. But Ezra, as well, got convicted. Wasn't him. He's still in there, sadly, today. And he reminded me of not the Green Mile, as in the character of the big man in there. Great piece of acting, that. And I like the Fred Astaire tune in that, as you lot very well know, Heaven. But he was 6 foot, he's 6 foot, 6, 7 or 8, 20 stone of absolute natural muscle. And in my lifetime, the only man that I ever saw bench 220, 5 plates on a prison diet, basically, natural muscle, was Clive Wilson, which was beefy, which we all know, apart from Rodney Hippolyte. I think I've done a powerlifting one before where I believe beefy Clive Wilson was the strongest pound for pound man that I ever met. But on careful inspection of that, even, I think Rodney Hippolyte had more belts as well. Another quiet bad man, that one as well, Clive Wilson, beefy. But yeah, they used to say the same about Danger. 7 foot, doesn't really bully and get into arguments. In fact, lets things go where you think he could just give someone a backhand and, nothing really could be said about it. But no, a lot of talk over the years that he was big and he, is not much stomach and not much heart, just because he's not a bully kind of figure with all that natural muscle. But then on such a day and time, with what I saw or I heard, if you get what I mean, one day it just completely went nuts, and about 9, 10 officers rushed him all at once, allegedly, and 7 of them hit the floor. So it just shows you everybody's got their breaking point, just because you're 6 foot 8, never underestimate. Well, we know this anyway, because a lot of people, think people, they're big, and, they think just because you're a little bit more humble and you're not violent by nature in that kind of way. But when it really matters, the critics are soon asking saying different things, if you get what I mean. So allegedly, Danger, I hope that appeal's going well, my boy, because it is one of those miscarriages of justice. But we'll talk about that another time if you like. Also, Pat Smith, right? I don't many of you met Pat Smith, a hyperactive character, charismatic, rightly won his case. Rightly won his case on an appeal for murder. Imagine being in there for a 10 stretch and you didn't do nothing there either. But another one who was polite, humble, kind, generous, funny, and you think, oh, I heard a lot of stuff about you back in the day, and I was expecting you to be a certain way. And then one day I was down the block and we was in Brixton. I think Moose was down there as well. Moose, I think we all remember them from the Sound things back in the day. I don't know if that's the one that married Smooth, LJ Smooth, whatever her name was. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, one such day as well, I saw him pinging with just one hand, again with staff allegedly, heard or saw, if you get what I mean. And they all hit the deck as well, and I never expected a man like that. He's not the biggest geezer in the world. But when he gets going, some real struggles you would probably have, albeit 5'9", but so quick, Pat. Sending loads of love to you as well. Gentleman you are, my boy, as well, Pat. And of course, Razor Smith. Razor Smith, we've talked about before, been about 15 jails with him, and never heard a bad word said about him. All you get from when we talk about such a man, as I said again, I was going to say what a really nice man Razor was, but let's not forget that Razor was one of the most notorious armed robbers in that life, who turned his life around completely. So we know how that story's gone as well with Razor. But another one who could have a row, but never threw it about and never got into conflict with anyone unnecessary, kept himself apart from people, could do his time on his own. Hello, goodbye, everything all right. Prison A to Z of the prison law thing, like you needed representing on, adjudication. You used to be able to have Mackenzie friends, they used to call them. If you couldn't, you needed a witness to speak on behalf, not that I needed anyone to speak on behalf of me. But Razor, quite rightly or unknowingly, how he remembers everything is beyond me. All the articles of rules rules this and rules that. Razor has got it photographically written over there, so he give a lot of help to a lot of prisoners as well, who needed help, who struggled with things like that, because he was intelligent and well educated, and spent most of his last days, apart from the sad ending that I had with him prior, after this time here. Another one as well, Razor, who was polite, humble, and laughed, and who could just stand his own ground. Let's never forget the famous story with Uncle Yammy, where was it Belmore Shirai down Razor? I can't remember. And you gave me some phone cards. Yeah, it was evening. I think he was in. You might have had the library job then. I can't remember, Rays. But yeah, I was trying to sneak out the gates as usual. Razor was playing pool outside of the gates with about 8 or 9 other 10 inmates. And then called me, got me outside, got a screw to open the gate. I slid out, and Razor said to me, "Yammy, can you get me? Will you be able to sort something out if I give you these?" And he gave me about 3 phone cards, I think it was, and put me in my hand. And I was going, yeah, raise, I promise you. Yeah. What do you want? Oh, I'll get it for you. So I was quickly taking the cards very quickly, because I had a grafting plan, because I realised 3 of those cards he gave me, one of them I could possibly keep for myself if I could just bring him back what he wanted. Sorry, what he wanted. What he wanted. You know, what he would be happy with, Razor, I would be able to nick a bit off it, which is how, you know, the currency thing works in it, especially when you're out grafted every day. And you remember that he held my hand, didn't he? And he said, any bit like that, just as I was about to shoot off, and he said, "Yam, you wouldn't do that to me, would you?" And I said, no, don't be silly, Razor. I remember I've told you that one before, but enough, make me laugh, Razor. What a gentleman as well. One of the other nicest, baddest men that I ever met as well. But on this day, yeah, because I've done it on a one-off before, my gentleman, you know, apparently was the enforcer during the Great Train robbery days and all that kind of stuff. I had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy Uzzy, Tommy Wisby, during the second part of their institutional stay. So this is after the Great Train robbers. I think they got nicked for something in later life and got 3 apiece or something, 3 years apiece for some travellers checks or something smaller, if you get what I mean. And I used to have the regular bets with Jimmy on a Saturday. It was like religiously. I think this was the time when I got the Queen's pardon. I think we was in down to 1 to a first. And we always used to bet on football. I can't remember if he was an Arsenal supporter. Rest in peace now, Jimmy. But what a gentleman Jimmy Uzzy was. Every single morning. "You all right? Sweet? Cool?" The old school seemed to keep it very, very brief and think, "You all right? Sweet?" It's very difficult to get in to that old lot. Nobody liked to take liberties or cross that line unnecessarily. What I mean is the bullion's got a little bit much more, but then to have come out in 2009, been stuck in the middle of Beckenham Hostel on curfew after the Cat A's, because you remember they were saying that I was gonna, you know, with the religion side of thing, that I joined this and I joined that, and basically I was in Beckenham Hostel for about 4 months, got recalled for going carnival, and stayed in there for 2 years for the rest of that 13 years to complete it. For coming back late to the hostel, and yeah, recalled. And during that time I was on the train, and I was talking to a member of my family during that time, and he was sitting opposite me on the train, and his face hadn't changed at all. And I went like that, "Jimmy," just to see if I was right. And he went, "Yeah." And I went, "Do you remember me, Jim?" He went, vaguely. I goes, I'm Sammy. Remember the football bets down to? He goes, course, Sammy. So, but little did I know he was listening to my phone call all the time I was on the train, long before I recognised him, because I was on the phone looking, and I had to get off because I was on 3 curfews during that time. And he said to me, "Yeah, here's a couple of quid. You remember, he asked me about when did they invent all these Mappa high risk hostels where you have to be running?" But he goes, "You ain't going to make it back there. You're going to need cab fare." And he went into his wallet, took out a few quid and give it to me, because he said that, because he could hear me saying that, how am I going to get a lift back from West London to South London and that kind of thing. But that's enough for today. That's quite a long one, really. But coming up shortly, one of the baddest, nicest men that I ever met. The full story. Sending loads of love today.